Morning, y'all. I have been working on getting a habit of being more connected with God. Not for my salvation, but because I know He knows what's best for me. And I know that if I have that connection, that can, if I plug myself in, just like a lamp into the power, then that lamp can shine. And if I am connected to God, then not only can I shine His glory to others, but I have more of a grounded attitude, and I'm not going to get discouraged as easily. I'm not going to get as scared as easily. But I've been hearing a message lately just being thrown in my face over and over and over again, and every verse that comes up in the last 2 weeks has just reminded me of this point. The verse that is in the Bible study that I'm actually going to be presenting the Sabbath is Genesis 4:7. And bear with me, this is the King James Version. I don't have my other versions. But it says, if you do well, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou does not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over it. So it's kind of hard to understand in this version, but in the other version it was a lot easier to hear. But so this is not saying that if you do well you'll be accepted, but if you don't do well you're not going to be accepted, which is, I guess, not interpretation, but my preconceived notion of what the word should say. And it doesn't say that. It says sin lieth at the door. So what that means to me is that I just hear grace in this verse. I know it's weird, but that's what I hear, because God is not saying that I'm not going to accept you if you choose that. I'm not going to accept you. I can't love you because you're sinful, you're gross. He's not saying that. He's saying if you don't do well, if you choose the wrong path, if you decide to go left when I say you should go right. You should go right, because right is where my glory is. Right is where abundance is, or whatever, however you want to put it. Right is the right choice. And it's not saying you chose the bad choice so I can't accept you. It's saying please choose the right choice, because if you don't, you will be ruled by sin. You will let sin into your life, and you will let it ravage you. You will let it kill your joy. You will let it steal your opportunities and your joy. It's just, when He says something like this, He's saying it because He's our loving Father, and He wants us to live abundantly, not in the sense of money and cars and riches and that kind of thing. He wants us to live abundantly in our character. He wants us to live abundantly in our joy and happiness with Him. He wants us to live in love and peace and joy and just Him. And when we choose sin, just like Cain and Abel, when Cain sinned, he was like, I don't know, what am I? My brother's keeper? Or when Adam and Eve sinned, they were like, yeah, I did it, but it was her fault. Yeah, I did it, but it was the snake's fault. He lied to me. He beguiled me. And that's what we do when we feel like we're wrong. We get this guilt, and we get this shame, we get this condemnation, we get this urge to stack up sin upon sin upon sin upon sin. And it may feel so little and insignificant, but it's not insignificant. It's very significant, because the more you dip your toe into that water, the water doesn't seem so cold anymore. The water doesn't seem so dangerous anymore, because you've already dipped your toe in. You've already touched the apple. And according to you, God said that even if you touch the apple, you'll die. You didn't die, so why don't you just go ahead and eat it? And it sounds so harsh, but that's what it is. Every time we allow ourselves to inch into our sin and put our toe in the water just to see if it'll be so cold, we need to be aware of what we put our focus on and what we put our hope in. But have a blessed day.